Welcome to another episode, everyone. Jap3 from 107 Hoover was stabbed and killed last year in April of 2025. Why was he stabbed? Why was he killed? Who did he get into it with? How did he end up losing his life is what we will get into today. As we can see from the interview that I covered yesterday, Jap3 was just beginning apparently to change his life and change his perspective. And it's ironic how he died and why. I'm going to get into it. I know exactly what happened. This is Warren Cali. Just going to briefly detail a little bit of Jap's life, then I'll tell you what happened.
This episode, I will detail the story of Baby Jap, also known as Jap3 from 107 Hoover. Baby Jap was born Kevin Morgan on April 10th, 1970. He came from humble beginnings. In his early life, he moved in various areas, like the Nickerson Garden Projects in Watts, which is controlled by the Bounty Hunter Bloods. He also lived in various areas in Compton. But the area that shaped him into what he would become would be in South Central and in a 107 Hoover's turf to be exact. By the 80s, Baby Jap became fully invested in the gang life, and the streets of South Central were wicked. The 80s and 90s being some of the deadliest times in LA history, with 92 being LA's peak year for crime. Growing up in Los Angeles in the 80s, the influx of guns and drugs and gangs would take over the streets. Turf wars and gang wars became the norm, and body dropping would be an everyday occurrence. And being a Hoover Crip wouldn't be easy either. The Hoovers are a collective of gangs under the Hoover umbrella, and they will become one of the most hated gangs in Los Angeles, having beef with Crip, Blood, and some SA gangs. And where the 107 Hoovers were situated, they had a lot of close enemies, like gangs aligned to the Rollin' Hundred Crips, which are a collective of several gangs, as well as the Denver Lane Bloods, and also SA gangs like South Los. The 107 Hoovers, also known as the Salos, were founded in the mid-70s. Their early rivals would be the same top rivals they have now. It's easy for Baby Jap to join the Hoovers, with his family ties being based in the Hoovers, with several family members being in the gang. Continuing his family gang ties would lead to Jap wanting to make his own name. He became well known for being a squabbler, fighting rivals all throughout his middle school and high school years. Even with being small in stature, he didn't turn nothing down. Jap wanted to be respected and wanted to rep his gang well, so he would do whatever to show people he was built for whatever came at him. Jap became so invested in street life, he was catching cases as young as 13 years old, and going to juvenile hall became a consistent theme. And going back and forth to juvenile hall even furthered his rep, making his name ring from the streets to the juvenile system. Outside of his hands, Jap was good with a shank, and was quick to use a shank in any issue, as fast as he was quick to use his hands. With being in the streets at that time point, going to jail for most gangbangers was a badge of honor. With most being underage, they couldn't go to the adult prison system. They were sent to Youth Authority, also known as YA, and Gladiator School, and YA was just as bad as prison. YA was all about fighting and violence. That came with the territory of putting a bunch of young gang members from various parts of California in the same system. And Jap had to experience YA for 7 years, which he got YA life for a kidnapping charge. While in YA...
So really, he just took the Jap interview that Big Tune did and that I played yesterday, got Jap's life story, and he's just detailing it in his own words. I could have did this. But CYA, yes, California Youth Authority, as Baby Jap alluded to in his interview, he did go there, spend some time there in California Youth Authority. And it's really just a prelude to prison. It's the California Youth Authority. And this is where he really began to fight and squabble Jap3. He was already fighting and squabbling on the street, but he really began to hone his skills there in CYA. He was in YTS. I was in YTS as well. We were not there at the same time. I don't believe. I think I came just right after he had left. But he was in YTS as well, and he was known for squabbling, and then he started picking up the weapon. But again, towards the end of his life, he was changing his life. Get into it.
Jap focused on school, which he graduated high school in YA, and also working out, which became an intimidating factor and boosted his image and made him more feared. After being released, Jap went back to the streets, and the streets will always come with pain in his life, to losing several family members and friends, to going back and forth to prison, serving multiple bids. Even though Jap was in and out of prison, he played a role in his kids' lives and taught them how to handle themselves on the streets and also in life. When he wasn't serving time, he was preparing his kids for what they faced being in the hood and how to move militant.
Well, basically, like living with my pops and stuff, he started training us different, like when he was raising us, he just used to have us like real militant, and everybody used to wonder and be thinking like, man, he hard on his kids, like he be tripping. But in all reality, I feel like he was just showing me the real. Like, and I end up growing up being a different type of individual because I seen so much at a young age. It's like
Jap outside of the streets by 2006 had a chance to show a talent that many didn't know about, which was his rapping skills. Robert Lewis from Rectable Records and Charles Big Chuck Stetton for Drama Family Entertainment paired together to produce a double disc album and also a documentary, giving several gang members from several hoods all over South Central a chance to get exposure and potentially a chance in the industry. And the documentary would give a face to the artists and also their recording process. Several Hoover gang members would take part in the album, as well as the documentary, and Jap would be one of those Hoover rappers.
This documentary, I'm from Westside Hoover. I'm Baby Jap, say low.
Yeah.
But motherfuckers know me as a real nigga. I let the world judge me. I'm not God, so I don't judge no man, right? But I'm broke. I'm broke and I'm trying to make it in this rap game. I gang bang, homie. Just know I gang bang. And after this, I'll probably be dead. But look, I want to tell you something. I had a long life. I seen gangbangers die at 12 years old. My nigga Chipmunk made the 3rd Street Hoover. 12 years old, it fucked me up. But it didn't change me, though. It made me more angry.
But Jap's career never got to take off, with him being sent back to prison for several years.
Did not really have a long life. I mean, long, it was long enough, but he died at 55 years old. So, I mean, he had a lot more life left to live, that's for sure. And we certainly have to be careful about what we say, because sometimes I say that sort of stuff. I don't care about dying and all this and that. And really, sometimes you can call this sort of stuff into existence. Not saying that that's what happened here. There was another situation that transpired here with his death, which again, I'm about to get into a little bit, let you know what happened. But we have to be careful about the words that we speak because they are indeed powerful. We don't want to say that I might be dead or I might die or I might get killed or I might get killed for this. Instead, we want to say that, I'm going to live a successful, long life. I'm going to live my life out to its entirety. That's what you want to say. You want to, regurgitate that. Not, I may die.
Half of Jap's life was spent in prison, with him serving over 7 years in the juvenile system and around 15 years in the prison system. While he was in prison on his last bid, his son will also become a 107 Hoover by the name of Jap3. Jap3 became a well-known Los Angeles rapper, known for his street reputation as well as his rapping skills, which he was making a name for himself and building a major buzz. And Jap3 credited his dad as being a major source on why he way he is.
Yeah, that's why you gotta just move different. Especially with your children, you gotta move different because you gonna show them what you don't show them. Somebody else is just gonna show them. So it's like I'd rather just be straight up.
But was your dad telling you like, this is what gangbanging is, stay away from it, or this is what crime is like, this person breaks in houses, this person sells drugs, and like trying to tell you
No.
you don't want to do this?
No, he never told me that. But my pops is also in the streets heavy too. Like my pops ain't like nobody else pops. Like he different too. So with my pops being who my pops is, he didn't care about none of that stuff. Like he was doing him. And he just made sure that he kept me on my stuff, but he never stopped doing him. Like, cause I'm under my pops. Like my pops name Jap3.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is there a Jap3 and 4?
My pops is Jap3.
Oh.
I'm Jap5.
Oh, okay. I thought you said he was 2.
No, I'm saying that.
Oh,
my pops
he's
name is
in
Jap2.
addition.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Where did your name come from, and like what does it mean exactly?
Japanese. It's like our hood name.
Oh, okay.
Like it's Big Jap, Lil Jap. My pops is number 3. He Baby Jap. It's Tiny Jap, and then I'm 5. I'm Infant Jap.
After Jap3 released from prison, him and his son would connect again, but with Jap3 being arrested in 2021, the reunion would be short-lived, and Jap is still currently behind bars. With so many years in the streets, Jap3 would take a different approach in life. He found God, and even went back to school and began going to college, and also staying out the streets of South Central by living in Lancaster. Even though he always remained a Hoover and repped his game to the fullest, he began to step back in the streets. But unfortunately for Jap3, on April 21st, 2025, Jap3 would lose his life. On April 21st, 2025, about 8 a.m., the Lancaster Sheriff Station received a call of a man bleeding in an alley along the 45,000 block of 10th Street in Lancaster. The man, identified as Jap3, was found in the alley. He was transported via ambulance to the Antelope Valley Medical Center in Lancaster, where he died to his injuries. It was alleged that Jap3 got into a physical altercation that led to him being stabbed and dying. Many would pay respect to Jap and celebrate his life, but Jap3's son from behind bars would feel the pain of his father's death, from behind bars making a post to his father, and the worst part, Jap3 was killed on Jap 5's birthday. From all that Jap3 went through in the streets, to go out the way he did was unfortunate. He was 55 years old. RIP to him.
Yeah, indeed, 55 years old. And he died on Jap 5's birthday. He was killed on Jap 5's birthday. But the ironic thing is, and I wasn't there, I can't get into a whole lot of detail. Of course, I heard what happened. We all did. The ironic thing is that he had moved to Lancaster, like a lot of individuals end up doing, to get out of the hood, to get away from the hood, to go to a more peaceful place, even though clearly there's violence out in Lancaster, California as well. A lot of individuals had ended up migrating out there, gang members, former gang members, what have you, to garner a sense of peace and get away from all of the chaos. And ironically enough, this is where he ends up losing his life, Jap3. He goes out there to Lancaster. He's out there for some time and trying to get away from the hood and the violence. And really, that's just an illustration that there is no escape. There are places that are more violent than others, but all places are potentially violent. And as the narrator here, Warren Calley, alluded to, Jap did have an altercation with someone out there in Lancaster, got into it with an individual. Supposedly, allegedly, this individual was a fiend, a dope fiend, if you will, a user. And they had a conflict over whatever it may have been. Again, I was not there. I don't know. Conflict supposedly turned a little bit physical, they had a fight, what have you. And then the suspect, the individual, whipped out a knife and used it and stabbed Jap right there in the alley. I believe that was the real footage with them right there pumping him right there. But I could be wrong. He was rushed to the hospital and he died. It's just ironic because he was changing his life. As we heard in the interview yesterday, he had a different perspective. He was saying that we need to stop the killing, that things would be better if we can stop the killing. He said this in his interview, and he said that gang banging was a mental illness. There was a mental illness. So he was rethinking his whole life. He was rethinking his whole disposition and perspective on the gang culture. This happens often when someone is just changing their lives, just beginning to change their lives, and then the streets still end up catching up with them, either while they're changing their life or right after they change their lives for the better, trying to be positive forces now in the community. Their past deeds, not that this was that situation, because again, this happened out in Lancaster, but their past deeds still end up catching up in some sort of way, even though they're trying to make amends. And I've seen it time and time again. So it's a tough situation to be in, where you're trying to get out of the street and do the right thing, but some situations and some people still want to drag you back in. They still want to drag you back into that lifestyle. They want to hold you accountable for what happened 20 years ago or the individual that you were 20 years ago. They want to hold you to that. And they don't like the transformation because they haven't transformed themselves. They're in the same predicament. They want you to be there with them as well. And sometimes it takes strength to break away from that. seems like Jap had broken away, was on his way to breaking away from those ties. Had moved out there, but it still unfortunately didn't work out for him. Rest in peace to Jap3. We lost a soldier there, lost a strong individual who, again, was trying to do the right thing at some point in his life. And, that's a pain that a child, of course, will have to endure for the rest of their life. Jap3 is out here. He's navigating the street. He's navigating the situation. All of this is still fresh. This just happened last year. His father just was brutally killed last year. So he's handling it pretty well, I suppose, I would say. Jap3, from what we see publicly, but who knows what happens in the privacy of one's own heart with anyone. So let's try to support him and what he is clearly going through. Rest in peace to Jap3. Rest in peace to Jap3. Shout out to Jap3. Shout out to Warren Cali. Shout out to all my viewers and subscribers who've always supported me. I appreciate you all. Stay safe and get out of the streets. It doesn't end well. In and out of jail was Jap3, YA, juvenile hall, prison, fighting, stabbing, and you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And at the end of the day, he ended up dying by a knife. No matter who you are, how big you are, how tough you are, all of us bleed, and anyone can lose their life at any given time in these streets. So we have to be careful of our demeanor, our disposition, how we approach people, how we respect people. Many of these situations we can get out of. Many of these situations we can walk away from. And not be any lesser of a man for walking away from a certain situation. You're not any less of a man. You're a stronger man. It's weakness that you have to respond and react to every slight. You have no emotional intelligence. Some situations you have to say, the objective is to make it home to my family. This dude right here means nothing to me. They mean something to me, but he does not. So I'm not going to throw it all away for him. He's not that important for me to throw my life away for. They are, but he is not. You calm yourself. Count to 10 if you have to. Whatever you have to do, man, to calm yourself down. You walk away. You know that you can hurt that individual. Maybe you can even kill him. But the fact that you didn't is where the strength lies. Not the fact that you did, because anyone can do that. Anyone can pull a trigger. Anyone can kill someone. A 5-year-old can do that. They have done it. So that doesn't mean anything. Your aspiration is to make it home to your family every day. And if you walk away from a situation and you make it home safely, then you've done your job. As a man, as a father, as a son, as a husband, you've done your job to get home to your family and provide for them. And not lose your life in the street or take someone's life in the street over some perceived slight. Because you don't have the emotional strength and intelligence to walk away from the situation. You think that you're being strong by reacting violently to the situation. You're not going for none. You're tough, you're strong, you're a member. You are a man. So I'm gonna handle this. And it's best to de-escalate a situation, because once it's escalated, you don't know how it's gonna turn out. I don't care how big and how bad and how tough you are. No one wants to be attacked. No one wants to lose their life. So everyone's going to fight if you're big, bad, and tough, you might really be in trouble because now this individual is really afraid and he doesn't want to lose his life. And you coming at him strong and aggressive, and all he can think is that he has no chance. The only chance he has is this and that. And then you're cooked. It's not worth it. Stay safe. Don't mean to preach to you, but I care about you. Stay safe and stay free, people.